Welcome to all three of you. Starting off with the panel discussion, I'll first have my first question from Vinay. Vinay, we say that technology is used for simplifying the processes in HR. I'd like to know what is your perspective on how technology can be harnessed to enhance operational simplicity while aligning with broader HR strategies.
I think this question has been well answered by Subir already.
Yes, yes.
He has, widely discussed about this topic in very detail. But in your question, you have already broken HR function as such into two quadrants. One is about the process and one is about the strategy as such. The challenge that I see across all the industries is that strategies, while being discussed widely, is very less being practiced or being very less designed by any kind of an HR person. The reason being that every time they are busy in the mundane jobs.
Correct.
And by bringing the technology, the daily routine jobs, which could be even the attendance management or leave regularizations or onboarding of people, even the ticketing kind of a things. If everything has been taken care of, the HR person will have enough time to take care of this designing or building up the strategic kind of an activities things. So I think the technology can take out the daily routine jobs and free up the bandwidth of the HR head. And then they can, focus more on this strategic positions or strategic ideas, which Subir has widely discussed. I mean, he's experimenting so many things in their companies. I think that's a good points of discussion.
Thank you so much, Vinay. Yogesh, my next question is for you. We understand that integrating technology into HR practices can be challenging. What, in your opinion, are the key challenges of incorporating technology in, HR daily practices?
So I think if you dissect this question, there are two things. One is what are the challenges and how do we overcome
that, right?
Yeah. Correct. So one is when you see the challenges, it's actually less about the tech, it's more about the thought. Okay. The way Subir was mentioning, I think he made our job easy by mentioning a lot of things in the keynote session.
Yeah.
But fortunately or unfortunately, most HR folks are, I would say, technologically challenged. Yeah, it's a strong opinionated sentence, I understand, which is slightly okay. But I think it's extremely important to at least understand, where the technology is heading into the realms of HR. Yeah, that's something each one of us should constantly think. Okay, how do I learn? Okay, if I cannot learn, how do I create people in my team who can help me do this?
Correct.
Okay, so it's the HR folks who are not really understanding technology. Most of the times, what we buy is what's working somewhere else. Okay, what someone else recommended. Okay, and we are not getting into the contextual nature of the product. Okay, what's my requirement is extremely important. So the biggest hurdle is we are not able to integrate because I have not done the audit of my HR practices today. So if I don't know where am I today, I will never know that, what is it that's going to work for me. So what we end up doing is after a while, we will crib about the platform. Okay, this product is not good, this platform is not good. The reality is, okay, that product is working somewhere else. It's contextual in nature. But it's not as per my need, but it's not the product's fault. It's just that I never audited what's my need. Okay, I got the budget approved from CEO and I was like, okay, I can buy an HRMS. But what's more important is why I need to buy HRMS. Okay, what are those aspects of my function that I need to, either increase efficiency or I need to deliver employee experience on. Okay, so it's extremely important that we actually do a good detailed diagnosis and analysis of where we are today. And what is that system that's going to make my life easy. It may not be the best system or it may not be the most famous system in the market, but it's the system I want to take that will help me today. Yeah, so that's one thing. And second thing where, we struggle, most HR folks, we struggle is we do not plan the journey of digital transformation. A lot of times we just leave it by chance.
Right.
सिस्टम आ गया है तो डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो ही गया है. ठीक है, मेरा सब लेटर ऑटोमेट हो जाएगा, सब हो जाएगा. ऐसे नहीं होता. यू विल स्टिल नीड अ ह्यूमन टू जनरेट अ लॉट ऑफ दिस टास्क. You need to plan this journey by involving all the stakeholders. Okay, a lot of times HRs buy system that is required by HR. Okay, this will make my life easy. In reality, you need to turn the tables and think, I need to buy a system that is going to deliver a superior user experience to my audience, to my end user. And then somehow calibrate and marry it to my HR need. कि ठीक है ये बहुत अच्छा experience देगा, and this is the need of my HR function also at this point of time. We marry this and we make the best use of this system. So the more stakeholders you involve in this entire process, a lot of times I've seen HR leaders, they don't even involve their team into such decision making thing. The reality is that it's not that me who's going to work on that system, it's my team who's going to work on that system. Yeah, so it needs to be a very, very inclusive process overall. You need to involve, we completely ignore the IT head, right? They need to know they are going to deal with one more monster, right? But we don't involve them. So it's very important that you make it inclusive. You know, every stakeholder, every end user should be part of this decision-making process. It may sound a little complex, but it's not really. Okay, we can make it. You can do focus group discussions and make it very, very compact, and get something that already has a buy-in even before coming in. So that's my take on it.
Yes.
Yeah, just to add what he has said is, so when he talked about the stakeholders, also the top management commitment is essential. All the leaders look at their age profile, whether they are really interested, whether they want to really practice, and they would enforce with their team members. Okay, that is essential. One. Two is also, you can always look for launching, making a pilot project with a small group, and once it is working well, then you can think of launching to everyone.
No, I totally agree with what Yogesh said. I think it's really, really important that all the stakeholders should be equally involved, because it's not one person who's making the decision. The implementation of the entire system would only be effective if we have all the people working together towards understanding how to work and adopt it. Right. Thank you so much, Yogesh. Mr. Kavathalkar, the next question is for you. We always say that employee experience is very, very central and very, very key for the HR. How do you make sure that, when you're incorporating the technology within the organization, the employees are actually, there's a new, you will say that we are harnessing the experience of the employees and we are enhancing the experience of the employees with that technology being incorporated. How do we make sure of that?
So I would like to say that there are two things to it. One is that when a new employee joins in our company, so his first few days are critically important. The way he's been treated. Most important is the role clarity, the creating a purpose for him. The manager introducing the team and the way he takes charge is something essential, and definitely it is not going to be possible in the technology. In terms of the technology, you have various platforms. Once you introduce the mundane jobs, like he said, is that can be done on the technology platform, right from the onboarding to the offboarding, the entire life cycle.
Yes.
The third thing which we can certainly bring onto as a part of his engagement is allow him to really participate, settle him down, and can he contribute to suggest something new. I can give a couple of examples in our organization. In our organization where the employees are encouraged to really suggest the current platforms and how can we bring changes. One. Two is that over and above your responsibilities, what else can you do? Can you volunteer? Can you invest some time to do something, having a cross-functional team? I started writing the Monday motivation articles in our organization, and I simply started writing on every Monday, and I wrote that for 4 years. So the organizations need to also have this support system where you can contribute. Now, Kalpataru Projects is into a large civil contracting and power transmission business. So most of our people are at sites, almost 80% people. So they deal with steel, cement, brick, mortar, dust. So how do we really create our platforms which will help them? So what do we do is we have created a very simple English LMS for them. They're bite-sized learning. It is there on our app. They can go through on the mobile. One. Two is we have daily progress report which can punch the progress in their laptop sitting at distant locations. Could be Agartala, could be Mauritania in West Africa. and the report is generated and available. So HR creates this enabling factor for employees to really get enrolled. Another thing is as simple as that we have got vehicle tracking system or biometric system for our auto outsource employees, okay? Diesel sensors, diesel bowsers. So these are some of the things which we use technology to help employees doing their other jobs more critically important, and the mundane jobs are taken care by the technology.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for those insights. Vinay, continuing with the first question that we had, when we're talking about the HR streamlining the processes, can you throw some light on the real-time experiences in terms of how technology has actually streamlined the, how it has made the life simple, the technology has made life simple for the HR fraternity?
Yeah, so one of my clients' positions, so I do the business transformation projects largely. So I'm freelancing and helping corporates to grow and turn around. So in one of the company, I think the problem situation was that they wanted to save the cost on the travel things. And the idea was very simple, that whenever people were asking for the tickets, they were sending emails. Those emails either remained unanswered or the email request was quite unstructured manner, henceforth not understood by the admin or the HR guy, if the admin or HR is a common function as such. And there used to be many errors into providing the tickets. And at the same time, every time the request was coming in the 11th hour, and henceforth leading to the high cost of the tickets. So with a simple ticketing system, that a request has to be raised on a particular portal, it goes to the person, gets approved, and you can, the request come in a structured manner, that on what dates you need to travel, from where to where you need to travel, and simply gets executed. So I think so there are two things that technology is helping around. One thing is the ticketing system. Any kind of a request that a person is raising is raised in a ticket form. So the person is aware that with whom the request is pending, and by what time it will be addressed upon. So that is one thing. And second thing, with all these technologies, what has made that, we go back to the earlier days when people used to stand in front of the cash teller in the banks.
Correct.
Now everybody is, boss of their own.
Payments,
yeah, so you have applications available on your desktop or on the mobile app, and you can do the transactions on your own. So with the help of a technology, a person is on their own, and they can get the things resolved for themselves. So this has brought a lot of trust, a lot of transparency has come up. Say earlier, people used to struggle, even in case of attendance regularization, they used to struggle and reach out to the HR, this kind of changes needs to be done. Now they can see themselves, like inbox has been spoken about, so they can see in the dashboard that where do I stand right now, and any kind of what action needs to be taken if any kind of a red dot is available in the calendar, absenteeism. So they can take this kind of an action. So there are real-time examples, people are getting help quite a lot from this.
Thanks, Vinay. I think that these are the real-time scenarios that, the examples that you
Yes,
shared.
yes, these are very simple things.
Tracking and the SLA tracking in terms of, where it is lying pending, by when it needs to be completed, the entire documentation, track history, everything is...
I'll narrate a very simple issue I've, encountered very recently. A person's petty cash was not, paid out on time. And it was simply because the company did not have this ticketing system. If they had this ticketing system, the petty cash can be, goes to the particular finance department, and they can, reject it if the document is not available, or they can approve it if everything is fine, and it gets approved and paid out in a, proper TAT schedule. So there are very small things where employee feels that they are not, being given that kind of a feature or facilities or empowering them to go ahead on there for the regular job. And then even the HR department can focus on the larger things, the employee can focus on the business part.
I think it's, I would say it's an amalgamation of simplified HR processes, as well as I think employee experience is also getting, because life is simplified for them, to be very honest.
Yeah, earlier before this technology things, people started, experimenting with the kind of a buddy system. So whenever a person joins into the organizations, there will be one buddy will be, allocated to that person. and that buddy will be assisting that कि अगर आपको कुछ एक housing loan के लिए कुछ apply करना है within the policies तो कैसे करना है, or any kind of activities to be done in what manner.
Making them aware about the entire ecosystem.
Yeah,
कैसे, you know,
and now in the dashboard on that, because of the technologies, the person can have their own buddy and they can, you know, understand ki what is to be done in what manner.
Thank you so much. Yogesh, next question for you. We always say that, you know, that predicting the future of HR technology is very exciting, and you know, HR tech is evolving. You tell me, you know, how will you roll or shape this evolution of you know, HR role of HR professionals actually shaping up in this evolving era of HR tech?
So I think predicting HR tech is actually not very exciting now. It's become dangerous. Okay. Yes, it's exciting because a lot of new fancy terms come up every day, but it's equally dangerous. What we are talking about prediction today may just not hold true for another 24 hours. Yeah, that's the pace things are changing, especially after ChatGPT. But yes, it's evolving for good. There are enough and more. In fact, I guess tech is almost touching every aspect of HR today. But the good thing is there are enough organizations or products that are actually, you know, using the tech for the effective usage and just not for the sake of giving a tech word. Okay, generative AI is going to be big. All of us know, and we just saw a real-world use case when Magnum was presenting, right? Creating JDs. I think that's the real power of generative AI. Okay, you need to use it in the right way. We were talking about, Subir was talking about, you know, how the power to choose a career or everything has moved to employee. The days are of hyper-personalization, okay? Each one of us today are either on Zomato or Swiggy, and we get the kind of alerts that we get from their app. I think it's phenomenal. It's so personalized and so attractive. That's where HR will have to move, okay? That's the kind of tech we need to get into, and that's the kind of hyper-personalization we will have to get into. Then, the mundane things like your assessment, your succession planning, your entire employee experience design, everything will use HR tech. You know, it's going to use machine learning, it's going to use artificial intelligence and everything. However, but I think at a strategic level, as a HR leader, if I want to introduce any of these things, I want to be mindful of, you know, some of the factors that are going to impact my HR strategy. One is the human touch, okay? How much ever tech you get in, I don't know, last time, I want to open this to audience, when was the last time you called up any bank call center, whether to block your credit card or anything, or to get a query? What was your experience like?
IVR was very boring, but unless we got to connect to the human customer care.
Exactly. So IVR has gotten a lot of efficiencies, saved a lot of money for organizations, true, but still the problem actually gets solved when you are, you know, talking to a human. Okay, and that's something we need to always remember, that how much ever tech you get in, but we are dealing with humans, and as Subir was mentioning, please do not take out human of HR, okay? And all our jobs, everything are safe as long as we are adapting with tech as well as keeping the human element alive, okay? Second major thing is, there can be, technology can be a great, you know, divider, okay? It can get tremendous amount of digital divide in organization. We need to ensure that, you know, when you get in tech, it should be for all, okay? It should not, tech should not be elitist in nature, okay? Tech should be democratized. Sanjay was just talking about, you know, the landscape of Kalpataru and the kind of people they have. Imagine him getting an app only for, you know, people who are sitting in corporate office. That's a great digital divide, okay? I think everyone deserves tech. So we need to get something which is easy, which is, you know, which is comprehensible to at all levels of, you know, all levels of people in the organization, right from my CEO to my office boy. Everyone should be able to log in, see, and take something relevant out of it. Third major thing, all of us know that machine learning ka matlab ye hota hai, the more data you feed in, the more instances go in, the machine learns and, you know, behaves in a certain way as you want, which also means that we may be feeding in our biases to the machine. So there are genuine ethical concerns with HR tech, okay? So we need to get rid of these biases. Okay, if my data that I'm feeding in is constantly saying that, you know, out of 10 resumes that I'm receiving of female candidates, I'm rejecting all 10, over a period of time, the system will learn it. And if that's one of the data point I'm looking at, system has already learned the bias, it's by default going to reject all my female candidates. Yes. Okay, there are real world challenges of ethics. Okay, you need to keep this in mind. Third is cyber security. Each one of us day in, day out, jamtara chalte rehta hai, the number of scam calls we were. I think the amount of tech that we are exposed to, okay, the amount of systems that we are getting in our organizations for people, there is a greater challenge of cybersecurity now. So you need to have systems and processes in place that thwart this threat. Okay, we need to ensure that there is no risk of data security because it's confidential data. Okay, and I think most important bit, we are in HR. I think compliance is a big aspect of what we do. Getting compliant, see the compliance landscape is changing rapidly. Okay,
Yes.
Recently we saw the deep fake videos and how dangerous they have become, and we saw that, you know, last week itself government has to come up with certain basic laws. Of course it's not become a law yet, but do's and don'ts for social media companies. So which means with so much of tech, these are the real world challenges, that the compliance landscape is changing very rapidly, and getting a system to, you know, adopt to this compliance change is not going to be very easy, right? Because the pace is very fast of compliance change. So we need to ensure that, you know, how do we always keep a tab on the fact that whatever system I'm using is in compliance to the law of land, what's new is happening, how I am ensuring that, you know, my data is not leaking, you know, all my compliance, whatever is happening new, at the macro level, my system is able to kind of adapt it.
Thanks, Yogesh.
One point I would like to add
Yes,
to him, he spoke about human touch. So that is definitely important. One more very important element is that trust. Very recently, one of the person has reached out to me with some kind of a technological solutions that you can take this and you can keep a track of your employee कि वो कहाँ जा रहा है, कब जा रहा है, क्या कर रहा है. Now, this is good. Maybe for some of the business models, some of the organizations, it could be good. It could be required. But yeah, but you have to be very cautious that just picking up these kind of a solutions that is available in the market, which is tech-based, can hamper that trust factor, which always employee would like to, you know, feel that. And also, say, for example, Google's experience. One of the important reason that the team is performing to the best is about their psychological safety. And the psychological safety, if you see certain questionnaires that they are there, the employee, if the person is feeling psychological safe by working there, you know, the performance is at the highest level. So along with the human touch, the trust. So these are the two things, human touch and the trust, are the two important things that the HR person should never forget. Whatever the level of technological things you would like to implement or, you know, adapt, that's a different thing, different question altogether.
I totally agree with you, both of you gentlemen. To be very honest, we cannot take away the humane element from the human resources.
Yeah.
You know, that's very important. No matter how much we live in the era of AI, I think even to feed the AI, it is very important that you need to have a human mind,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
To understand as to what you want the output from it. Thank you so much. So I'd like to ask you another question. You know, we always talk about that, you know, technology adoption is really crucial. So how do we make sure that the simplicity of the HR technology is beneficial to all and it reaches to everybody at all levels? How do we ensure that?
So definitely whatever application you said, like I said when Yogesh mentioned initially, so I always believe that whatever we want to start an application or a software launch, simplifying our work, is first is you have the complete processes done, checked, and also see the feedback from the people who are going to use that. Okay, so your internal employees, your stakeholders, your customers. Number one. Number two is that when you have the SOP, because the way we think and we work, we process vis-a-vis the technology is different. So the technology, we need to have proper sequencing, giving that standardization, the common sense, and then it works. And when you have people working at different locations, different sites, different demography, and having the different literacy level, you need to have more and more simplified versions for people. One. Two is create a tremendous amount of awareness. Three is that once you start rolling out, stop the manual processes so that people are coming onto the digital platforms, be it of your variety of applications, your leave or various capex or whatever, you know. So these are some of the things which we have to start. Also, the HR tech platform has to be nimble as the changes are happening. You need to have the app, your other support system to work on that. What we have also done in Kalpataru, very interesting, I must tell you that, is we have got around 50,000 plus workmen, those who are on contractual, low literate. So we are creating a database. It is known as Kalp Kushal, and it will be a web portal for all our workmen. So where are they coming from? Their entire details, their trade, somebody could be welder, fitter, grinder, mason. So the database is available and that's given to our sites. Where are they working? Which are the expertise they have? Has that person worked in overseas? Has that particular person worked in the snow-bound areas? Whether he can work, he can speak other languages? All that, these details we have prepared. So, you know, inclusivity is also something important which we have to bring in when we have to cover the entire masses. So when you do that, both the top down and the bottom up, then it works well.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Vinay, this question is for you. The buzzword in the market is data analytics, right? And we always say that data analytics plays a very, very crucial role in terms of HR taking the strategic decisions. How do you think that data analytics is actually, you know, how HR is actually leveraging the insights that are being shared by the data analytics?
As far as I have seen, right now the data analytics has not been used in the right perspective. Let us say, I mean, maybe from the audience we can ask whether anybody has experienced that, whether you have used the data analytics for the purpose that the person comes to the office and the person is not in a very good mood, or maybe in a mood that somebody needs to really sit down with that person and alleviate that mood. Maybe वो घर से झगड़ कर आया है, maybe the person is very tense about something that is bothering the person. Whether have you used the data analytics on the behavior that if you have every Monday review meetings, and I've seen it, I'm talking about a real life example,
Yes.
and a specific person is always taking leave on Mondays. The reason was very simple, that the person who's taking the review is not using right set of languages, is giving very hard deadlines or very hard targets, and the person is missing on those targets, and then maybe saying ki, every time you come and you tell the stories and in front of everyone. So the person has to be very, very vigilant that how the technology can be harnessed to the highest level. Have you ever used the data analytics to understand the person's behavior, to understand whether the person is, you know, prone to committing suicide? Very recent, these kind of case studies are going on.
No? Okay.
So when we say the data analytics, it can be used for very, very, you know, vital things in terms of understanding human in much better manner, which is missing around right now. Right now, the technology is being used for daily tasks as such. That is fine, but immediately has to be harnessed and utilized for a much better perspective. Maybe somebody would have some very nice use case. Somebody can narrate that is very would be good for us to understand.
Anyone would like to share any insights?
Hi, my name is Vibhu. I've not used this part, but I can relate what you're saying. So I was with, as a customer, I was in a Taj hotel. I happened to speak to the GM. And the same thing what is being said, he said that we used to take a pulse every day. So every time the employee comes in, punch in, every time there is one question that is being asked. And previously they were following the Gallup, then they changed it, used different questions. And that's the way that you're utilizing the real-time data, same questions, instead of what Subir said that, you know, we do the survey, we analyze, by the time it's obsolete. So that's the one case that I can actually share that.
Yeah, thanks, Raghu.
Thank you.
I think today every function is obsessed with data
Yeah.
and the word analytics. Okay?
Correct.
Like there are two different things. There is enough data available, and problem is there are very few who can decipher that data. Okay, even when a system throws data, you will still have to apply your intellect, contextualize that data to see, okay, क्या analyze करूँ इसमें मैं और इससे क्या निकलेगा. But the problem is everyone wants new data, more data every day. I'm sure when Magnum was saying the number of reports that HROne already had, and customers were asking for so many other reports, team managers were asking for so many. I can tell you out of 100, only one client would have really analyzed a lot of it. Okay.
I agree.
I want every possible report that I can think of, but end of the day, I don't know what will I do.
And in the specified format that I am using within the
Yeah.
organization,
Yeah, so-
that's there.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
data
exactly.
analytics is an art, and unfortunately, in most functions, including HR, that art is missing. Okay, there's a lot of science, of course. There is how this things comes out, but I think that art of looking at data and creating stories that can give you meaningful predictions is very important, and which needs to be learned over a period of time. But I think we should not get obsessed with too many Excels and VLOOKUPs.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. Thanks, Vinay. Next question is for you, Yogesh. Over to you. We are always, HR leaders are always looking forward to leverage technology, for an edge. And I just would like to know your insights in terms of, what is your advice for the HR professionals, to incorporate HR strategy with technology-driven simplicity and utilizing it for the HR leadership decisions.
So I think the first step I want to do is, I don't want to call it an HR strategy with whatever data or anything that we are talking about. What's more important is HR. The first thing that we should do is get the business strategy. Okay. When Subir was also mentioning, we are always treated like a support function because we ourselves act like support function. How many times do we go and command a seat on the table by giving something meaningful insights about the business? Very rare. Either it's a low self-esteem or whatever from HR professionals कि नहीं मैं धंधे का बात नहीं कर सकता है. But the reality is not that. I think we need to command that seat, and for that you need to understand your organization strategy.
Right.
And then zoom in कि इसमें से अब मैं HR strategy कैसे बनाऊँ.
कैसे निकाल?
ठीक है. A lot of time these two things happen in isolation. ठीक है. HR वाला is making his HR strategy, marketing वाला is making his marketing strategy, but in reality there has to be one mother strategy, which is the org strategy, and उससे you come down and say, okay, fine, now I'm zooming in to see what will be my HR strategy like, and there are few things that you need to make it work. You need to always ensure that what is my vision of my department for next 2 years at least.
Right.
Okay, this is a very, very fast changing landscape. So if not 2 years, at least 1 year. How do I see my function shaping up and contributing to the business in next 1 year, and start from there. Then you finally move on to prioritize. One is you need to articulate your problem statements really well. A lot of times we are so overwhelmed that too many issues are there, but you ask one issue and it's very difficult to articulate. So you need to articulate your problem statements really well, then kind of prioritize what you need to pick up. Okay, we all know that how much ever tech is good, it can be buggy, it can be laggy at times.
Correct.
It will learn with you over a period of time. Do not start big directly. Okay, when you know okay, these are my 4 priority areas, out of that I need to pick something either which has the maximum impact, or I want to pick, that's a tactical decision, that either I pick something with a very high impact, or I pick something which is a low hanging fruit. Okay, both have pros and cons, because if I'm picking a low hanging fruit and if I'm able to give results out of it, which means there will be more buy-in of the tech. Okay, or conversely, if I'm a risk taker and I say no, I want to pick up something with the highest impact, again, if you get an impact, nothing like it.
Right.
So that's something you need to mind. You need to keep in mind that articulate it well, prioritize, take this tactical, decisions. Ki where I need to introduce tech in what specific area of my HR, and then once you are there, learn the art of marketing. Okay, a lot of time HR strategies are always on paper, and we are not able to market what we do well. Okay, so we need to learn the art of marketing. Do not treat HR system as an HR system. Try to see which other departments can get into it, because see, a lot of times a lot of these new systems fail because of lack of adoption. Okay, again, Magnum was just saying that we realized how much ever we try, it was difficult to get people on board, so might as well we took HR1 to people. That's the reality. You need to collaborate with different departments and see what problem my HR system can solve for him, right? A real-time use case today, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you are HR1 customers, we have a help desk module in it.
Right.
In my company, that's one of the most talked about module, because I tom-tommed about it, कि अरे ऐसा module है, it will solve this problem, that problem. IT started using it, maintenance started using it, marketing started using it, and the least queries that come are of HR now. But all of other functions are using it, which means when people are raising a ticket, they are also coming onto system. When they are coming onto system, of course, they are exploring the system and doing something. So very important to collaborate with other functions and see what can I do for them. You know, how can my system be helpful for them? And I don't say it's my system, it's an org system. Okay, so you need to collaborate, piggy bank with them, and the most important thing, the whole presentation since evening that we are seeing, it's all about simplicity. The problem is what we go out and buy is the, you know, the slickest or the fanciest toy, but what we need actually is the simplicity. Okay, and that's the most costliest thing also. I'm sure the reason Netflix is a Netflix is because of the UI. The reason Amazon is an Amazon is because of the UI. If you talk about any of your IT friends, the most highest paid coders are the one who can simplify problems, who can reduce the number of clicks on a page, right? Which means everything is about simplifying, you know what we want to do. So it's very important to get something with a very, very simplified user interface, you know, something that's very easy to use, very intuitive to use, and not something that looks fanciest. Okay, I'm sure a lot of times when we see fresh presentations, you know, from fresh graduates, we see on PPT they will use all fanciest of the effects, animations that's available. Text यहाँ से jump मार रहा है, वहाँ से jump मार रहा है, समझ ही नहीं रह क्या आता है. And as you move ahead, and if you see a presentation from a senior person, it's very simple, very crisp, right? So that's the reality. We need to get into very, very simple UI. Buy the one that's going to work for you. It's okay if it's not the fanciest, if it's not the slickest. So that's my take on, you know, converging the HR tech with our strategy.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. Picking up from you know, the adoption, I have my last question for the evening for you, sir. Just wanted to know, you know, HR is actually, I would say HR tech is evolving every day. You know, there are new inventions, innovations that are happening in the tech space on a daily basis. How do we ensure, you know, as HR leaders that our HR fraternity or our HR department is actually upskilled or is actually learning how to use the, you know, the HR tech appropriately?
So, very good question. See, you know, like Subir said, or all of us feel that we should have the best thing which is sold in the market, we should take that. So I think we need to know the reality check, what my business is into and what is my priority number one for that. So I think we should start with that, looking at my end customers' requirements. And that's what HR would play the enabling role to support people, to provide services to employees. So it's not only HR for HR, but also see that how it is going to work. For example, you have performance management,
right.
And if you have a very difficult, very jargonized terms which are used, then it's not going to be useful at all. On the contrary, you make it simple, make it accountable, make everyone to be part of that in the design process and in adopting that and then implement that. And as I said, that I am a firm believer to make a launch of a pilot. And then you start doing that. 1, 2 is get everyone on board, all your team members, start rolling it out, and then the results will come slowly. Things will, you know, get time, people get adapting to that, it takes time. So have patience for that. And ensure that we have the user acceptance test, you have a proper rollout, and the HR team are also upskilled, they also know what's happening, why we are doing this, what's the end outcome, and how it is going to be useful. And they also have to start doing it. Initially, we may feel that we may have to hire techies, we may have to increase the cost, it happens. So I think in the long run, it supports. And as everyone said, that keep it simple, so things would be quite useful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the valuable insights that you all have. We would love to be together in this journey with you all, and let's propel together. Let's embark on this journey to propel together. Thank you so much. We had a wonderful time spending with you. Thank you so much. Thank you.